Ever tried to order something online, gone through the whole checkout, only to find they just don't deliver to your area?
Oh, yeah. It happens.
Well, for a lot of people, especially outside big cities, that's not just annoying sometimes.
Yeah,
It's the norm. It cuts them off from e-commerce, even essential stuff.
definitely. And that's exactly what we're digging into today. There's this new solution or potential solution aiming to fix that exact problem.
Right. We're taking a focused look at EON Reality's last mile delivery platform. We've got the press release here.
Yep.
And our mission really is to understand how this thing is supposed to finally bridge that rural delivery gap. What's new here? What are the key innovations?
Well, first off, the scale of the problem they're tackling is pretty staggering. The release mentions major e-commerce platforms only reaching something like 15, maybe 20% of rural PIN codes.
15 to 20%.
Yeah.
That's huge. It's not just about missing out on online shopping deals, is it? It's access, economic opportunity.
Exactly. It's a massive gap.
Yeah.
And then there's the cost factor.
Yeah, the cost.
Delivering that last mile, getting the package from a local hub to the actual doorstep, it apparently costs 2 to 3 times more in rural areas compared to cities.
2 to 3 times. Wow. And that cost presumably gets passed on.
It often does, yeah. The press release suggests rural consumers can end up paying a 15 to 25% premium on everyday essential goods because of these higher logistics costs.
So more expensive and harder to get. That's a tough combination.
It really is. It creates a clear economic disadvantage. And that's the core problem this EON Reality platform wants to solve.
Okay, so how? What's the actual plan? The core strategy?
They're proposing what they call a rural optimized network. Think of it as a kind of hybrid model.
Hybrid.
Yeah, you have these centralized hubs, sort of like connection points, but then they link up with a network of local delivery partners, people actually in the community.
Okay. So using local knowledge.
Precisely. Combining the efficiency you get from a central system with the on-the-ground knowledge and flexibility of local folks, that's vital for tricky rural terrain or unclear addresses.
Makes sense. And technology ties it all together.
Absolutely. Technology-enabled coordination is key. And interestingly, the release notes, the whole thing was developed using EON Reality's AI-powered entrepreneur guide.
Right. I saw that, the AI guide. What exactly does that mean in this context? Is it like AI designing the delivery routes?
It seems broader than that, more like an AI acting as a strategic advisor during development. The idea is it helped identify this specific mission, the rural logistics gap. It likely crunched data to quantify the problem, validate the market need,
Okay.
and then help shape the integrated solution, combining the hubs, the local partners, the tech features, making sure it all fit the specific rural challenges. It suggests a very data-driven, structured approach to building the platform.
Got it. So a methodical development process. Let's get down to brass tacks then.
Right.
For the actual rural consumers, the people facing these delivery issues daily, what changes for them if this works?
Well, the promise is pretty significant. First, just basic access, getting stuff from online shops that just wouldn't deliver before.
Okay, opening up marketplaces.
Exactly. Second, potentially lower prices on essentials. If they can make the supply chain more efficient, that should translate into savings.
So being the operative word, but yeah, that's the goal.
Right. Third, reliability. A consistent delivery service, where maybe before it was very hit or miss or non-existent.
That consistency alone would be huge.
Definitely. And finally, simple order tracking. They mention using SMS, USSD, which is that basic code system on older phones, and an app. Multiple channels, acknowledging connectivity might not always be great.
Right, adapting to the tech landscape there. Okay, that covers the consumer angle. What about the local people who might become these delivery partners? What's in it for them?
This is a really interesting part, I think. It offers flexible income. People can use their own vehicles, bikes, vans, whatever works locally.
So leveraging existing resources within the community.
Yes, and they're serving their own communities. Using their local knowledge, managing their own patch, essentially. The tech they interact with is designed to be simple, apparently, not requiring deep technical skills.
Makes it accessible.
And crucially, there's potential for that income to grow as e-commerce hopefully picks up in these areas, thanks to the platform itself. It's framed as local entrepreneurship.
So it's not just delivering packages, it's potentially building small local businesses. That's quite powerful.
It could be, yeah.
What about the big e-commerce companies? Why would they sign up to use this platform instead of, trying to build their own rural network eventually?
Good question. For them, it's mainly about access without the massive upfront investment. Reaching these rural markets is tough and expensive if you try to do it all yourself.
So EON provides a ready-made solution.
Sort of a turnkey solution, yeah. They get access to potentially millions of new customers with minimal infrastructure spend on their part. Plus, they get data, insights into these rural markets, what people are buying, where the demand is.
Data is always valuable.
Always. And it's a chance to build their brand early in markets that are likely still growing. First mover advantage, potentially.
Okay, that makes sense from their perspective. But we touched on it earlier. Rural areas have unique challenges. Muddy roads, no street signs, patchy internet. How does a technology specifically adapt?
They seem to have put a lot of thought into this. The release lists quite a few adaptations.
Like what?
Well, there's a rural location system. Instead of relying solely on GPS or formal addresses, which can be unreliable, it seems to incorporate landmarks.
Oh, like turn left at the big tree.
Kinda, yeah. Or the house with the blue roof. More intuitive navigation. Then there's offline functionality baked in, so the app or device still works, even if you lose signal temporarily.
Critical.
Definitely. Multimodal communication, we mentioned SMS, USSD, app for updates. Route optimization that specifically considers rural terrain, not just distance.
So it knows that a shorter route might actually take longer if it's a dirt track.
Presumably, yeah.
Yeah.
It also handles simple payment reconciliation for cash on delivery, which is still common. The whole system is designed to be low bandwidth. Visual interfaces to help users with varying literacy levels and get this non-smartphone verification for delivery confirmation.
Right.
Maybe a code sent via SMS or something similar.
Wow, okay. They really seem to have considered the ground realities. Anything else?
Yeah, hub aggregation grouping deliveries for very sparsely populated areas to make trips efficient, and a rural-specific pricing model. It's a pretty comprehensive list.
It really is. It shows they didn't just take an urban model and try to force it onto a rural setting.
Exactly. And going back to that AI entrepreneur guide you asked about,
Yeah.
you can sort of see how it might have played a role here. By analyzing the specific failure points of existing logistics in rural areas, the AI could have highlighted the absolute need for things like landmark navigation, offline modes, cash handling, features essential for success there.
So the AI helped pinpoint the must-haves for this specific environment.
That seems to be the implication, yes. A very targeted development process.
Okay, this all sounds ambitious, innovative, but is it sustainable? How does it actually make money? What's the business model?
It looks like a blended approach. Multiple revenue streams.
Just such
Delivery fees, probably paid by the customer or the e-commerce company. Partnership fees from those e-commerce platforms wanting access. They also mention potential subscription services, maybe for regular deliveries of essentials.
Interesting.
And finally, a revenue-sharing model with the local delivery entrepreneurs themselves. So everyone has some skin in the game.
A diversified approach aiming for resilience.
Seems like it. And they have a growth plan outlined, too.
Oh, yeah. What does that look like?
Starts with a pilot phase, naturally. Specific districts, targets for signing up partners, hitting certain delivery numbers.
Testing the waters.
Right. Then clear expansion milestones laid out over the next 3 years or so. Growing geographically, adding more services. They even mention specialized solutions for things like agriculture down the line.
Agriculture deliveries.
It's
like inputs or something.
Could be. Seeds, tools, who knows? The ultimate goal seems to be connecting with a very significant number of rural households eventually. It's a phased scaling strategy.
Okay. So, stepping back to the details, what's the big takeaway here? Why should we care about this beyond just another delivery app?
For me, what really stands out is the potential impact on, well, fundamental equity. Access to goods, access to markets. These are big deals. If this platform can genuinely make e-commerce and essentials more available and affordable in rural areas, that could significantly improve quality of life.
Bridging a real divide.
Yes. And the model itself is interesting, that blend of high-tech central coordination with very localized, human-centric delivery using local entrepreneurs. It's not just imposing a system, it's trying to integrate with the community.
A hybrid tech and people approach.
Exactly.
Okay.
Of course, the big questions remain, don't they? Can they actually scale this effectively across vastly different rural regions? Can they keep it affordable and reliable as they grow? What's the real long-term economic impact on these communities?
Yeah, those are the crucial follow-up questions as this rolls out. Important points.
Mm-hmm.
So just to wrap up our dive here, EON Reality's Last Mile platform is making a serious play to solve those deep-rooted rural delivery problems.
Definitely ambitious.
It's using this mix of tech AI-guided development, specific rural adaptations, and a network of local entrepreneurs. The goal is better access, lower costs for rural consumers, and new markets for businesses.
And that AI guidance seems key in tailoring it so specifically for the unique challenges rural areas present. Not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right. So here's something to leave you with. Thinking about innovations like this, tackling these tough logistical nuts, how might they change more than just shopping? Could they reshape community ties, create new kinds of local opportunities? And maybe, what other big challenges out there could benefit from this kind of tech-driven but locally empowered AI-guided thinking? Something to mull over.
Definitely food for thought.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.